5 best and 5 worst things at the 2025 CrossFit Games. But first, some house cleaning. I think it's weird that Will Moorhead was there on vacation. Wouldn't be so weird if there was any communication with Will to CrossFit or CrossFit to Will, but Will was just walking around like anyone else there. And then on the last day, he puts, can't wait to see everybody at the World Fitness Project post. It's literal poaching, or at least that's exactly how it appears. But I do appreciate everybody who sent me a picture of Will, and the 60,000 people who were looking. My guy Bill Leahy did not beat Justin Medeiros at the CrossFit Games.
Oh well.
He actually didn't beat him in a single event.
Oh my god.
Guess a guy can just be hopeful, huh? Talked to Bill a little bit and he's got the fire more than ever. And I think we're gonna do a little debrief on that coming soon. But more on Justin. Of course I'm talking about the video that he put up at his channel where it's him and it's Ellie. After the 2023 games, I made a video saying he'll never win again. Talking about their experience from this past CrossFit Games, and I do not think that it was the best idea to put that video up. There was just something about his vibe following that games where I was just like, he doesn't have it anymore. People like Justin Medeiros. They like him a lot. I like him a lot. Told you Bill had garnered and now has the fire more than ever. Well, I saw it leave Justin in a video that was put up after that game. So don't get this messed up thinking that people would have no idea who you were or like you as much as you do if it weren't for the things that you do, which is your craft, which is winning the CrossFit Games.
The things and opportunities that I have are because of me and who I am as a person rather than that finish on the leaderboard.
Which led to me saying he'll never win again. He didn't win, he hasn't won, so that claim still holds true. Also after the 2023 games, I put up this video about how Froning could have won that games. 36-year-old Froning would have won the 2023 CrossFit Games. Which got me thinking, how would Froning have done at this year's CrossFit Games? So I did this entire thing. I think he would have finished 13th on the run. He would have finished between Justin and Dallin. Froning's not a great runner, but he became a great runner when he was on the teams. A lot of people just remember him as that 2014 walker. On that second event, I give him the Austin Hatfield finish, 9th. I don't really see a world where Froning doesn't figure out how to do something in 2 weeks when he's got the time to prepare for the crossovers. If climbing couplet were power cleans, I think he wins. Because they're squat cleans, I give him the James Sprague, 8th. Now Dave was like, there's never been this much handstand walking as there was in the Albany grip trip. And Froning's the handstand walking guy, but I don't think he can run with the runners. I also don't think he has the power output of the guys who were at the top. So I put him right behind Ricky at 9th. And then there's the back squat. It's a very real scenario where he just gets dead last. You got the Daniel Brandon, you might as well just throw that event out for Froning because he's got that bum knee. So I guess we'll have a where would Froning had finished if he could squat and then if he could not squat. But if he could squat and he could do a 1 rep max squat, I think he's about James Sprague 465-ish, which gives him an 18th. Throttle up with the vest, I give him the Colton Mertens 11th. On hammer down, I give him the Ty Jenkins because I basically think it's your ability to rest, and from what I've gathered, Ty Jenkins is the best on a work to rest ratio sort of workout. Going dark, I think there's only one person who can beat him, that's Austin Hatfield. That's because the entire workout is the parallel handstand push-up. I think that Austin was going to blow anybody out of the water on that. I also think that Fraser would have beaten Austin by about a minute on that workout if Fraser were in the field. On running Isabel, I think he could tie Adler. Adler was basically a massive baby the entire weekend. It didn't seem like he even wanted to be there. Froning's the best barbell cycler of all time, or at least was. Like pulling Rocky Balboa out and making him fight Mike Tyson or Jake Paul. Whatever, you can get 6th. And then there's the event finale, which is all rope climbs all day. And yeah, there's thrusters. Oh my god, 135 thrusters. Froning's knees can't do thrusters. Yes, I bet that they could. Best shoulders in the game up there with Justin Medeiros. I believe that Froning could win or had the potential to win the event finale Atlas. After it's all said and done, Froning ends up with 712 points. Gives him a 7th place finish as a 37-year-old.
Wow.
Maybe he's 38. He's old. Damn, if you give him the Daniel Brandon treatment and basically completely get rid of the back squat, you take away 36 points because that's what you get for 18th. Ends up slotting 1 spot ahead of Jeffrey Adler, 8th. And now that we talked about one washed up perennial CrossFit Games champion, let's talk about the one that wins every single time, Tia Toomey. She doesn't fit into my 5 best or my 5 worst of anything. She's just there. Every single year she's there, and every single year she's gonna win. I think that Tia will go for 10. I think that the best thing or the coolest thing that Tia could do would be the first person to win at the age of 36. Wait a minute. How has nobody said this yet? Ladies and gentlemen, at the age of 31 years old, Tia Toomey is the oldest woman to ever win the CrossFit Games, tying Sam Briggs in 2013, both at 31 years of age. So that is cool. And she would be the eldest at 32 to win, and 33, and 34, and 35. And yes, I also think she could win at 36 at this rate. She had a 100 and 200 point freaking gap between her and Lucy Campbell. She won her first at the age of 23. Anyway, there's a story for you. But this is a good segue into my 5 worst. 4 minutes and 40 seconds into the video. video. And I always forget to ask people to subscribe, but if you're here, you probably should subscribe. Unless you're one of those Ben Bergeron truthers, you're gonna be the person who's gonna click the little button and maybe the little bell. Tells you when I put up videos, that little bell. Got a lot of stuff planned and you don't wanna miss out on it. Back to the list. I'm gonna go worst of the worst to the best of the worst. So my 5th worst thing of the 2025 CrossFit Games is the women's competition. I mean, geez, it does not help that the men's field was the best and the competition was probably the best of all time this year. But there really wasn't anything crazy about the women's field this year. I mean, Tia ran away with it. Lucy wore the leader's jersey for a little bit, so that was a storyline and that was crazy cool. That's the thing about Tia. I mean, it's cool to see the domination, but when you dominate every year and there's nothing really looking for the fittest on earth in the competition of the fittest on earth, it just kind of goes on the wayside. All the talk is about the podium, but I bet that everybody watching this thing right now does not remember the podium of 2021. And if you do remember that, you probably don't remember it of 2019, but you will remember the champions, especially when they win every freaking year. My number 5 best thing. People are going to disagree with this hardcore. I really like the programming. Tyler Watkins of the Heat 1 app made an entire thing about how things need to be inspiring. Basically, the field events are the most inspiring, the things that you can't do in your gym. And Dave made it a point to say early on in his week in review that this is going to be the most CrossFit-y of the CrossFit Games ever. I would say he delivered on that. If you really wanted to, for the most part, just about every event you could do in your CrossFit gym. Given it was a 3-day event, which I believe was a constriction, and with 10 scored events, I believe that they found the fittest on earth with those events. I mean, hell. You can't really make the argument with me that anybody is or is not where they're supposed to be relative to the fitness and what you would expect people on this leaderboard. This could be an entire video in itself, but I just want to stop right there with me saying that I liked it and it's one of my best at number 5. There are a trio of people sitting at the 4th worst thing of this year's CrossFit Games. Their names are Haley Adams, Brooke Wells, and Jeff Adler.
Blasphemous.
What is going on with these three? Haley seemingly took a long period of time off this year. She didn't do so well in that open announcement. She didn't do so well at the Mayhem Classic, and perhaps she ramped it up a little bit too late. Talked to her a little bit, and here's the clip from this with no audio, but in this clip with no audio because my camera decided to freaking not grab anything. What Haley was telling me here is that she was very frustrated with the analysts' picks. Talked about mine, and I'm like, dude, I had Brooke Wells winning. They're not that serious. She goes, yeah, you're not the only one. And the first thing that came to mind was John Young. John Young earlier on in the week, it was on Coffee Pods and Wads with me, and said that he said his hot take of the year was that Haley would finish lower than people expected.
I think her fitness is taking a huge hit. You look at Rogue, she was 16th place. You look at Mayhem Classic, she was 7th place in that field. World Fitness Project, she was way down there. Every competition, she's not been great.
Haley's like, dude, and this is what she told me. Only one in the field this year that beat me last year is Tia Toomey. What's wrong with you people? And I really liked that. But now in hindsight, it looks like John Young was right. As far as Brooke, she's gonna go do the World Fitness Project thing. She's been retired since the burpee debacle. Damn, that's cool, the burpee debacle. Burpee debacle, the burpee debacle, the burpee debacle, the burpee debacle. Jeff Adler just seemed upset, like sad, depressed. A lot of people thought Jeff Adler was gonna win. Heat 1 app had him as the favorite. But that dude's just getting old, and maybe he had a back injury at some point leading up to this event. My 4th best thing, Olivia Kerstetter. I had a chance to talk to her during the athlete check-in. After that conversation, I'm like, dude, there's no way this chick finishes outside of the top 10. She destroyed the fittest experience, and the only thing that would have been different about that competition versus the CrossFit Games would have been the amount of running. And I believe at Wadapalooza a little bit ago, I made this claim that she was a little bit overweight. Yeah,
I
we don't
think
have to
she's
go
an
all
outlier.
Bergeron on this, where he says that you got to be 10% body fat as a woman out there, but she's well over 20.
I thought he said 15, men are 15.
Whatever. He said something that was way too low, and he ruined Brooke Wells, in my opinion. Now, I think Olivia's approaching 28 to 30% body fat, and that's too much for the sport of CrossFit. And here's the thing about a fitness event. If Jason Hopper showed up to the CrossFit Games next year and you couldn't see veins in his shoulders and you could just tell that he was softer in general, up and down, you'd be like, damn, I don't really feel good about Jason's chances of winning the CrossFit Games again.
Obviously.
He took that paycheck and he spent every single day eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Or maybe he got a sponsorship to McDonald's and Burger King. I don't know. But you're just using your eyeballs to make observations. And my observations with my eyeballs, having looked at hundreds of thousands of bodies as a coach and a CrossFit affiliate, having done DEXA scans, made a claim on that Wadapalooza show saying that she was nearing 28 to 30% body fat. In all reality, it's probably 25 to 28%, not 28 to 30. But when I saw her there, I asked her the question, and some of you guys may have seen that in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's like under 200, so he's pretty skinny.
Have you lost weight?
I don't
You know?
really, I don't really pay attention to my weight, to be honest, but I definitely have like leaned out. Like,
You look leaner.
yeah, I don't know if it's just like I'm actually growing up and not have like baby fat anymore, but
Is that what?
I don't know, but definitely leaner. I don't really pay attention to, I honestly think I'm probably the same weight or within 5 pounds of like last year, but I look completely different.
Like crazy
so
lean.
thanks.
Yeah. And I'm like, I wonder if she's doing a bunch of running or if you changed her diet or any of that. None?
I did change my diet after semifinals last year.
I'm like, damn, you look good. You look lean. You're ready to roll. And she goes, yeah, I'm a little leaner. And then she just destroyed everybody. It's almost like the observations of the eyes aligned with the reality of her doing some things that led to her just destroying the competition. She is a badass. The chick finished third, and she's without a doubt the future of CrossFit. At the point in time in which, as I said earlier, tears going for that 35-year-old, 36-year-old CrossFit Games champion, Olivia Kerstetter is going to be at Proven. And here might be the unfortunate part is Tia's going to be like, ooh, I can see what Olivia's doing. And she's like, you know what, writing's on the wall. I should retire because Olivia's kicking my butt in every workout in house. And actually, come to think about it.
So you're going to win this year? Yeah. What if you won this year?
That would be wild.
I could see it.
I would probably get like kicked off of Proven.
You think so?
Beating Tia her last year.
No, dude, I got you.
But I just wanted to say that Olivia did incredible. I'm happy that I have gotten to talk to her. And her third place finish is the fourth best thing to happen at this year's CrossFit Games. Number 3 is the unknown and unknowable. The most garbage thing that I saw come out of the CrossFit Games this weekend was the, here we go, guys, on the grip trip workout, all of these deadlifts and the running. Guess what? No, unknown and unknowable. You got to be ready for anything. We're going to tack on another 100 meters to every one of your running workouts, which is done on one of these treadmills in place all day. You're just going to be on the same thing for a couple of extra seconds. We got you, right? Isn't that crazy? So like, no, it's not that crazy. No. Oh, and guess what? You're going 450, 500 feet on your hands. We're going to tack on an extra 50 feet. We're adding an extra 10% to that workout. Isn't that insane? It's like you didn't see that one coming. It's like we don't really care. Throw on another 500 feet, and that's crazy. Everyone's thinking, oh man, this is a hefty amount of handstand walking. But outside of that, the only unknown and unknowable thing you'll have to wait as my number one biggest issue with the CrossFit Games, because there was no unknown and unknowable. Perhaps there was the fact that the events towards the back end of the competition were relatively unknown until the competition was started. But all in all, it's like meh. If I'm being completely honest, the only reason that this isn't any higher is because I really liked the fact that the events were coming out a little bit before the competition. I'm not so big of a fan of the unknown and unknowable, and as I said, my fifth best thing was that I liked the programming. So the fact that I did like it pressed this fact down. But from what I gather, the CrossFit Games are supposed to have like new implements or things that just kind of throw the athletes off guard, which has been one of Jeff Adler's biggest crutches in the past, like the log muscle ups at Rogue. And there was nothing new here. I mean, the axle bar deadlift. Nothing! Whoop-de-doo. Oh well. The number 3 best thing is the level of fitness of these people. There was a point in time where people would look at the CrossFit Games athletes and they're like, damn, I could probably do that. I should throw my head into the ring. And those times are gone. If anybody thinks that they can genuinely do the stuff that they're doing, then you're probably Jason Hopper. Because when I did my video with Jason Hopper, he talks about, he's like, oh wow, I can go do that stuff. But that was 2021, and look, now he's the CrossFit Games champion. So if you do think you can do it, you'll probably end up winning in a couple of years. But if you just looked at even the back squat, the worst bottom of the barrel back squat for the women were Haley Adams and Danielle Brandon at 265, I believe. And those back squats were far heavier than just about any CrossFit affiliates women that you're going to go see. Same thing goes for the men. I mean, the men's back squats were actually kind of stupid light, like 415. Kaylee and Souza, who was at like 420 maybe. 405 is not heavy, and there's high schoolers all across the planet that can do it. Very similar to the claims that like the swimming and the running times are quite poor. And all of a sudden now I'm thinking Judd Lionheart has a point. You know, John Wellborn's friend, Judd Lionheart. But outside of those piss poor back squat performances, we're thinking the level of fitness is just untouchable. Winners of Running Isabel, 155. They're doing sets of 6 unbroken with a 155 pound, 105 pound bar for the women. That's something that nobody in your gym can do. 0 people can do that. And if it were 2014, everybody's doing singles, and everyone's like, wow, I could probably do singles with Froning on double Grace. I could do that. You go do it, and you're kind of not even close, but you're like, if I train, maybe I could do it. But 0 people are doing Running Isabel the way the athletes are doing it there. So I think the level of fitness is the 3rd best thing to have seen this year at the CrossFit Games. The 2nd worst thing this year is the venue. I think they were on their heels. I think that they were going to have a multi-year deal at Fort Worth. I think everybody understands why there was no Fort Worth this year, but Albany was not the move. It was fine at best. The CrossFit Games aren't meant to be fine. And the worst thing that I think about Albany was the fact that you kind of lose the festival vibe. You think about like raves and EDM concerts, think about the Wadapalooza thing, or when you go there, it's a festival, you're moving around, you're seeing all your people, and there were still like the people there. The people are great as always, but there's also like the general admission ticket. You go to Madison, there's this ticket, you go there and you can just walk out into the field. You know, the outdoor stadium, I don't remember what you call it, but there's that big freaking TV screen and you can watch it around 1,000 people all staring up at the big thing together while you're eating crappy food in the middle of a parking lot freaking thing in front of the Noble tent. Those were great. That was a good time. There was nothing like that at this venue. You couldn't just get a ticket for general admission and find a spot crushed in like tuna fish, anchovies, not tuna. You're all standing there in 95 degrees and sunny and sweating next to all these other CrossFitters with their shirts off, watching the CrossFit athletes try to flip a pig, and you're like, woo! No, you buy your seat for $10,000 in New York. Oh well. Where there's no airports and everybody who tried to get there had a hell of a time with layovers. And Vendor Village? It's just nothing! 10 miles away, and there were 14 of them. But I did get a really cool CrossFit shirt. Got that pukey clown guy on the back of it. But yeah, the second worst thing was the venue. I don't think it'll be going back there. Second best thing is Jason Hopper, the champion. I believe that Jason Hopper is going to be a phenomenal champion for the sport of CrossFit. He's got that football gusto to him. And a lot of people think he's kind of cocky, but that's kind of the best thing about having somebody like him as the face of the sport of CrossFit for the next year. You never know what the dude's gonna do or say. The worst thing that happened to Jason Hopper was he was in seclusion for a year. Nobody got to see anything from him. And the best thing that happened of Jason Hopper recently is the day after the CrossFit Games, he went live with Sevon and everyone got to hear about his process going through the events. Craziest thing that Jason Hopper did this year is he did a live podcast at the CrossFit Games, which is something you can bet your bottom dollar Matt Fraser would have put the smackdown on if he was still being coached by Fraser circa day 2022, 2023. You're gonna do a live what? You should be sleeping. You should have been sleeping 14 hours ago. Like, but Matt, that was yesterday. I mean, you're gonna have me sleep yesterday. It's gonna throw off my circadian. What circadian rhythm? You think that Jeff Adler is talking about a circadian? Just go to sleep. It's the CrossFit Games. Anyway, this is gonna be one where time can tell, but damn do I think that we're posed to be in a good run with Jason Hopper at the top. I think that James had a great story, but there's this edge to Jason that James just did not have. And I don't think James cares about the fact that I think that. The worst thing of the 2025 CrossFit Games are the freaking pegboards, man. It's like they're all playing Mario Kart 64 and they've got the banana peel thing and it's like, oh, you're throwing the banana peels on the board. It's like, oh, now Tia Toomey's got to not use her legs. Give us all a chance so Lucy Campbell can wear the red and white jersey. It's the test of fitness. And this specifically made the test of fitness flawed. Not quite as much as the 2024 test where they're just going to completely get rid of 2 of the workouts. But Dave said on his week in review or games in review video,
in the individual version, you had to manage your own rest. So you could push it a little too far. You could push it a little too much, mismanage or not manage your rest appropriately, and it can catch up on you quickly.
It's the athlete's fault that their feet were slipping, and I think that might be the biggest cop-out and maybe something that he had to say to make Bill and Katie of Rogue happy. Massive speculation there, but I do not think that somebody like Dave can really honestly say that and think it and believe it. Yeah, they just mispaced the stuff from the start, Dave. You think Tia mispaced it from the start? Way long ago, almost a decade ago. You think she lost her ability to do pegboards? No, she's fitter than ever. She's beating everybody up more than ever. The field's better. She's better. She should be able to do more than 4 unbroken, probably 10 unbroken to start this workout, no problem. Why is she going legless on the first round? Because it's slippery and slidely, and it's not an athlete issue. It's a lane issue, and the thing is all chalky. I love the workout. The workout's great, but this is one of those things when they needed a contingency plan that I'm guessing that they'll likely have in the future. Giant mop, and they go up and down, and they wipe the thing down in between. Not a wet mop, just a dry mop, because they gotta get the chalk off of the boards. Because when you put chalk on grips, it's almost like those frog grip things. You chalk this thing up and it gets slippery, more and more slippery, the more and more chalk you put on it. Check this out. I'm chalking this white thing and now, oh wow, that is really slick. Check this out. It's grippy. Hear that? See that? Hear that? Now I'm gonna chalk it. I'm gonna chalk that, and I'm gonna bet that you don't hear. Check it out. Nothing. You don't hear the same slippery. It's that easy, guys. So yes, there was chalk everywhere from the heat after heat after heat going on those same pegboards indoors. So all they'd have to do, in theory, take off their freaking gray t-shirt, wipe that thing down, take this, wipe off their little feetsies, and then they're slippery again. Or the opposite of it. You know what I'm saying, right? But yeah, it's the worst thing in the CrossFit Games. It skewed the test of fitness, and yeah, Jason's the champion, but who knows what would have happened with Dallin or maybe Austin. Or maybe even Ricky Garrard, the dude in second. The moment you've all been waiting for, the best thing of the 2025 CrossFit Games is actually not that, it's of the 2024 CrossFit Games, and that is your 2024 champion, James Sprague. Damn, this one hurts. Put up a video after that game saying that he was not the fittest on earth. I pushed back on a couple of people, namely one of those being Keeping It Real Grant, saying that yeah, he's not the fittest on earth because they ruined the test of fitness. And as I said earlier in this video, you look up and down the leaderboard and they're pretty similar. You see the same names. Left to right, the men and the women's leaderboard have the same names populating the top, with the exception of those who weren't there. But when someone like James finishes first last year and then he finishes third this year, in my head I told me there was a cutoff. If he's in the top 5, I think that it verifies how he did in 2025. And this is a phenomenal thing. I am so happy for where James finishes this year, because the worst thing to me for the past year has been the idea to me that the CrossFit Games had been flawed. I thought, and I still think, that they should have shut down the CrossFit Games last year. I don't think there was any reason that thing should have continued. And one of those massive reasons was that if it is the test of fitness and you're no longer completing the test of fitness, what's the point in putting it on in the first place? And then the extension of that was seeing somebody like James Sprague, who seemingly had these huge holes, one of those being his strength, another one being like certain upper body gymnastics positions. Winning the CrossFit Games where there's an abundance of running, there's workouts like Chad that is winning, and you've missed Amanda 45 and you missed the hammer banger thing, which who knows how he would have done in that, but also someone like Dallin would have definitely smashed him on that workout, and I thought maybe Dallin would be the one who won last year. But when James finishes third this year, I do believe that it verifies his 2024 fittest on earth claim. And I'm very happy to be wrong about this one. Doesn't hurt me to say it. Damn, this one hurts. I'm happy to say it. I'm happy about where Jason's at number 1. I'm happy about where James is at. And I'm excited for next year already. What are the things I'm excited for? Where's it going to be? Because, geez, it cannot be in Albany. It can't be there. I hope it goes back to Carson. That would be cool. I want to know what you think about this list. My 5 best and my 5 worst. Do you think Froning would have finished 7th or 8th had he had competed? Yeah, that's about it.